Today we're going to be doing a music test, okay, research, and I'm going to tell you what to do before the music test to set up for it, and then we're going to go through a real music test that came back with the information, and I'll talk you through what you're looking at and basically what to expect. So let's get to it. Hey Buckaroos, welcome back to Music.com Academy. Today it's all about research and specifically a music test. I'm going to show you a music test for a rock station. This is a real one. It's older, but the data is still totally fine. And and we'll go through what it takes to actually set up for one, because you definitely have to do some work prior to doing a music test. First off, what is a music test? Well, that's where you test a bunch of songs against potential listeners to see how they feel about them. Like, you don't want to be playing songs that nobody likes, right? You want to be playing songs that people really love in an ideal world. And what you're going to test is probably about, if you're lucky and you have the money to do this with a research company. I mean, you could do it yourself, but it's really tedious work. And a lot of this is done online, and research companies handle a lot of this for you, but I just want to go through, here's the basics of it all. So you're going to test about 500 to 600 songs, somewhere in there, online. And you want to think of those 500 to 600 songs as super precious items. So the main thing that you want to be testing in your thinking is gold songs, okay? That's the priority, because you want to have power gold categories, and these things are going to you're going to do a test, if you do them at all, once a year. So this results, they have to last for a year. So you don't want something that turns over quickly like a current song, okay? So gold is the first priority, and you want the brunt of your test to be gold songs. Then would come recurrents, because you're going to play those all year long too. And then finally, the current songs. And you're probably not going to test a whole lot of those for two reasons. One, the results you get back is probably going to be maybe a month and a half, might even be a little longer than that, when you really deal with it, after you've actually tested the song. So by the time you get the results back, some of those songs might have burned out. And the other option is to pick a song that's sort of coming up as a new song, and hope that enough people know it that they can grade it. But a month and a half later, maybe it's going to be one of your high testing songs, high spinning songs, and that kind of stuff. But all of that part, it's kind of a crapshoot. So you don't want to do too many current songs. So recurrence, and for sure gold, that's what you want to be testing. Next, you're probably going to need to sort of screen the people's taste who are actually judging your songs that you have. And there's a few ways to do that. And it's the criteria of somebody being in the test. But if they happen to get in the test anyway, from some of the other criteria that we're going to be talking about, you also want to know their taste, because someone might like listening to your radio station, but their tastes may not be sort of up the middle the way your general station goes. They may lean alternative, or they may lean heavily R&B, or in some other direction. So you want to get a feel for what their actual tastes are. And you do these with song montages. And usually they're 5 songs, 5 little clips of songs. And the songs, hopefully, if you do them correctly, and man, you really got to be careful about these, super careful about these. You have to pick 5 songs that when the answers come back, that, all right, if they chose montage A, okay, that they have a leaning toward alternative. That's the way those songs should all feel, okay? And they should all be pretty familiar, but in a particular sound. And, montage B should be something else. I see a lot of people, they'll just do strong songs in each one, and it's like, well, montage A could be a CHR station, montage C could be a CHR station, and so could D. Any one of these 3 could be, I don't know what the answer is. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to avoid that. So montages, 5 little song clips, 10 seconds each, 7 seconds, whatever it is that somebody can, oh, I'm familiar with that song, I know that song. It's usually the hook. That's what you want to be building. Also, in a music test, you can ask other things, pretty much any question you want, really. That would be perceptual type stuff. Like, you might want to probe how people feel about your morning show. Do they even know that your morning show exists? Because you might see people who don't really listen to your station very much. They come in a little bit, and when you're trying to get them to move over, and they have no idea what your morning show does. So you can find that out with questions. Again, For like the perceptual type stuff, which I'm not going to go into here, you can do pretty much anything. You can ask anything at all. The other type screening questions, in addition to what the montage does for their taste of their music, you want to screen to eliminate people and to make sure other people are in. I mean, it's kind of going both ways at once. For the eliminating people, you don't want people who don't listen to your radio station and are never going to listen to your radio station. In other words, they don't really like your music, or they really don't like your station for some reason and you're never going to get them. You want to eliminate those people, because the slots that are taking your music and grading them are precious. You don't want anybody, screwing the scores up because they hate everything that you play. Like you may be a CHR and they hate CHR music. They might be a jazz buff. It's like, man, you don't not want that person, doing the music test. So that's one. So you want to screen out people. And a research company they'll have a million questions that do this. You just pick and choose. They'll help you immensely. The other thing is, and this is really a tactic of the radio station itself and the format that you're in, you really have to think really carefully about who do you want to talk to on this test? Like, simple ones like, what are the age brackets? Are they male? Are they female? Are they equal? Like if you had a really super female-oriented station, okay? And, you mainly care about women and you don't normally get all that many men listening. Do you want to test men? Probably not. However, you might want to test men if you think that, okay, music tastes are changing or something happened in the market where you think you can actually pull some men maybe off an AC station onto a CHR station, or a reverse, which can happen sometimes pretty easily. You can pull maybe the older demos off a CHR that seems to be getting younger or maybe a little bit more out there or riskier or whatever you want to call it, and you think, I can pull these top end of these guys off. So you might want to put males into, the music test. And it may be 50-50, males, females, it may be 70-30. Those are things that you're going to have to kind of figure out what you want ahead of time. And then the research company will screen to only put those type of people into the music test. And also the age brackets. Are you looking, older? Like maybe you really want to concentrate on, say, people that are maybe, if you're at an AC station, 30 to 45 years old. I'm just making that number up, but maybe that's what you really want. You want the brunt of the people doing the test, 30 to 45. So you might say, all right, let's do 70. Okay, 70% is 30 to 45. That leaves 30% left. Give me 15% on the lower end below that and 15%, above 45, and take it up to the age of 50, let's just say, or 55. Those are the things that you kind of want to be doing. There'll be some other things going on too, little things, but those are basically the basics. So what then happens? Well, you're going to make 500 or 600 songs if you're testing. Your production people are going to have to, you're going to choose those songs, obviously. You're going to be really careful about what you're choosing and, what you think you want to play for the next year, what you think are going to be strong, what you think are not going to be strong. You might choose like maybe 30 songs, 35, 40 songs that you think, we've never tested these before. I think maybe they have a shot of coming back strong now because they've been rested for 4 or 5 years. There's a lot of those type of questions that will go into what you put into the test and what songs you test. But then your production person is going to have to find the hooks of those songs. Like if it was Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight, you're going to pick off just that portion. I can feel it going on the air tonight. Boom, that's it. That's all the people will hear. They'll hear that little piece. Or they'll hear every breath you take. Boom, done. That's it. Maybe a little bit longer than that. But just enough where somebody goes, oh yeah, I know that song. Then they can grade it. And in grading, this is what they're going to be looking at to grade a song. Everything, boom, yeah, I really love this song too, yeah, I really, really hate this song. And they're going to be seeing another box of some sort that they can tick or not tick, that in addition to either liking or not liking a song, there'll be a tick of, yeah, I hate this song, I'm so sick of this thing, okay? And a lot of times you'll get a song where they'll give it a high score, but they'll also tick that they're tired of it, which is basically a burn factor, which means to you as a PD, ooh, be careful with this song because you're testing it, right today, but a month of now, this thing may be fried and you really want to slow this baby down because a sizable chunk of your audience is burned on it. They just heard it way too much and are sort of sick of it. I'll show you that when we get into seeing an actual music test. Sometimes there might be one other checkbox there, which it was basically, is this one of your favorites or not? So you might do the box, or you may not do the box. It would be up to you and the research company as to how they handle that. So that's the basics of a music test. Now let's go look at one. What are you looking at here? Well, this is a music test done in 1996. It's really old, but this is what a summary would come to you from a research company. This is a real music test done by a real research company. Now they would give you software. Back then they didn't. I would get it delivered in spreadsheet form. Then probably, as I recall, you'd get like PDFs, so it's on paper, which was really hard to work with. So I would get the Excel spreadsheet version of this, and then you can mess with it, which is what, I'm going to show you here. But now the software has come along so much that, it'll do all of these things for you. But I just want to go through this and show you what's here. One last thing. Usually, now you would also get one more column here, which would have the year on it of the song, which will be, super helpful as you'll see when I go on later. But here's basically it. This is the #1 song, the highest testing song on this music test, which is Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall. Overall, it got a 98 score. We did not test this in 1995. This is 1996. And what you see here is stuff that I went back in and added after the fact from the test, that we did the year before that. So these are the 1995 scores. So I could see both of them. Is something going up, going down? Metallica, Enter the Sandman. 95, it was a 90. Now it's a 96. Moving across, the overall burn, this is, are people sick of this song? Are they, is it starting to bug them? Well, clearly not. And you wouldn't get that much on a rock radio station because you're going to get that on something with really high turnover. A rock station doesn't do the turnover all that much, so usually burn is not a factor. Overall favorite, 43. That's pretty good. 43% of the people in this test thought this was a favorite song of theirs. Not just testing it, and the score was good, but it's a favorite. And looking down, here's another one. New Orleans is Sinking, Tragically Hip. That's a iconic Canadian band, and and the rest are in the 20s to 30s of a favorite song versus a good song that they like. Like here, clearly this is these are songs that they like. Like here, let's take the overall favorite. This is a 33 for being a favorite, but when you give it a score, they give it a 96 for 20 to 24-year-olds, 25 to 29-year-olds are giving it they're over 100 now, 1.11, because the software could go a little bit higher than this, the way they were doing the scoring. And 30 to 39 is 83. So these are really high scores, but it wasn't necessarily their favorite where this one was. Okay, and then anyway, moving along, female index 97%. That's kind of the score that they're getting overall. All the women in this test gave it a 97. Males gave it a 99. This is like a super home run dyno song. Okay, Another Brick in the Wall. Our station's core index, over-indexed on this, gave it a 1.16. Our competitor, another rock radio station in the market, only gave it a 66. Pretty wide spread there. Our audience loved this song. Theirs was like, it's okay. And our morning show listeners, our core, the morning show listeners, they gave it a 1.20. They liked it even more. The morning show people really liked this music. Except probably this one here, which was doing pretty decent with our competitor's core, did decent with our core. What is this song? 9 Inch Nails and Closer. Interesting. Maybe they just didn't like hearing it in the morning. That's possible too. Although, what was the overall score for our station? 84, really good. And going across, young people give it a 1, which basically is 100. 25-29 give it a 97, which is huge. Here's the difference probably for the morning here when you look through. There's only a 35. That's the score for the 30 to 39-year-olds. And the morning show would have a pretty decent amount of older listeners. I mean, 30 to 39 is not all that old, but that's why you get pulled down with a 66. Looking at numbers can tell you a lot of story about stuff. Now let me just show you this column. This is something that the software now will do, but back then it didn't do it. So since I knew computers really, really well and I was comfortable with spreadsheets, I made my own formula. So let me just click on this. And you go like, well, what does that mean? Well, here's the formula. And what it's basically saying is if cell K5, which I'm on this row 5, I'll say if K5, which is the female index, if K5 is over 66 and the male index, which is right here, L5, is over 66, then put a 1 in this column. If both of those are occurring, then put a 1 there, okay? And if you go down, here's one, Van Halen, Why Can't This Be Love? It's got a 0, so it doesn't have the 1. 62 for women, 80 for male. Males like it. Here's another one. Same thing. Males like it more than women. Here's the exact opposite. Women really like this song, but this is a 60 for males. And they don't like it not so much. What is this? REM, Man on the Moon. So I just wanted to flag the songs that no matter what the score was, I wanted to deal with it differently. To me, it wasn't the overall, this is a great song for everybody. Because we were trying to get males and females to listen to this rock radio station, although when in doubt, always leaning toward the males. And that's what you do if you have a rock radio station. You're going to have way more guys than women listening, so you're going to lean toward the guys because that's just kind of the way the game is played. And, where's the 66 come from? Well, the strongest song is 98. That's the score, 98. And the lowest score, if you go all the way down to the bottom, these are the 1995 scores. I just added them in onto this so we could see them. And these are songs that were tested on 95 that we did not test again, just so you're aware of what's going on here. But 31 was the lowest score, so this is horrible. Robert Palmer, Didn't Mean to Turn You On. Nice song, but men or women, nobody liked it. And, if you go up, you can go, okay, well, let's just go up to the 50s. Yeah, these are still not all that good scores. So anyway, the cutoff is sort of like the average, the mean, the thing in the middle there that just seemed like, okay, this is a prudent number to kind of deal with for strong songs. And that gave 194 songs. It says 197, but these rows are down 3. So, 3 from 197 is 194. So it gave us 194 songs to choose from to build Power Gold categories, of which we wouldn't use them all, but it gave you that much to choose from. So this is a music test, and this is what a music test would look like for those of you who have never seen one. Hopefully you are really lucky and you have money in your company or your station to do research and a music test at least once a year. My God, if you could do it twice a year, that's like nirvana. That's really great. And I'm sure stations in certainly the big markets like New York and LA and whatever, they would be doing it 2 times a year. I actually worked at one station that did it 3 times a year. That was unbelievable. It made it so much easier to kind of do well in the ratings and win, which is, what we did, which was great. But that is definitely not the norm. One test or usually no test if you're in a medium or small market. And that's kind of the way the game is, unfortunately. But hopefully that's not you. And also, hopefully, you're getting something out of all these lessons. Really appreciate it if you would subscribe. We're somewhere around 650 subscribers of PDs from around the world, usually young PDs, which is really nice. I really like that. I get a lot of emails asking me, really simple questions that you would want to know when you're first starting out. And I love answering them. It's great. And, and helping people out, which is the intent of the channel. So if you're getting anything out of this, definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way, every new lesson, you'll get a notification that, hey, there's a new lesson. You might want to watch it. And if you like this lesson, or any of the other lessons, hit that like button, yay, hit that. And that helps too in some way. I don't know, the YouTube algorithms, at first I thought I kind of handled those, but they're so complex. I don't know. I have no clue. All I just know is if you do all those things, it's a good thing, okay? So until the next lesson, see ya.